This week we are studying elasticity. This is a very interesting word. The definition of it is basically just how much less we demand when prices go up. I'm going to show you some inelastic goods. Inelastic goods are typically those that we need. They're necessities. They're things that we cannot demand less of when that price goes up. You can think of toilet paper, water, having a bed, shampoo, soap. These would be things that would be very unresponsive to price changes. Also gasoline a lot of times, at least in the short run, is in this category. Elastic goods would be something like a luxury item. You could think of a car, boat, hot tub, swimming pool. You also will notice the more expensive homes, whenever the market's down, you see those not selling quite as fast, as those are typically elastic. We do not need a 10,000 square foot home. You could also look at this in a different method and think of perfect elasticity. You may have read something about that in your book. If you think of perfect elasticity, this is really hard to find in the real world. A close example would be money, as you're not going to give someone $5 unless they give you $5 back. Something perfectly inelastic would be like insulin or another life-saving drug that you could not live without having. No matter what the price is, you're going to do whatever you can to get this item. One thing to finish on is unit elastic. You may have heard this term as well. A unit elastic good really doesn't exist, but for the most part would be very closely related to clothing. If you go to the mall, you'll find lots of different stores that have various price points for shirts and pants. And depending on what your price point and style is, you will just go to a different store to find the good that matches your style and your budget. Another thing we should really look at on this slide is trends. Trends are typically inelastic at first, inelastic later on. When I was a kid, we had Cabbage Patch Kids. They were very expensive. There were few of them. As they decreased or increased their supply, their demand decreased over time, and they became much more elastic. You'll see this with Beanie Babies later on. Also, back in the 80s, other things that were just very trendy and more expensive than they should have been were mood rings, tie-dye shirts, and hammer pants. If you think back to when you were a teen, you can think of lots of different options of things that were trends, and think about how the prices started out very high, demand was pretty low, and then over time they became much more elastic. And I have a couple of questions here at the end. The first one is, how does recession affect elastic goods and inelastic goods? And this can kind of help you determine where you want to work after graduation. If you think about working for a producer that produces a very elastic good or service, you find yourself more likely to be unemployed than if you were to work for an employer producing an inelastic good or service. If you have questions about elasticity, please send me a note. Have a great week.